check outside just to see two sets of footprints trailing each other. I turned around just to see Grim standing behind me. We went back into the house and called the police and filed a missing persons report and gave them a description of Max and his father. After that, we went and told Freak and Gwen that Freak mentioned the New Testaments. We then called the police again and told them what Freak said. And then they met us at the New Testaments. The police led them to the burnt down house in the Testaments. Kevin then snuck through a window to get inside the basement of the building, and we heard loud screaming not too long after. We then finally seen our Max in our arms again. Not too long after, we sent him to the hospital to get x-rays because of the huge bruises on his neck.
Thank you, Glenn. I know you already answered this question basically, but when you woke up on that Christmas morning and went downstairs to wake up your grandson, what did you see?
Say that?
When you woke up on that fine Christmas morning and went downstairs to wake up your grandson, what did you see?
I've seen just the window open. It was really cold, and that he was not there, and the blankets were all rustled around.
Thank you, Glenn. That is all fine.
Defense, would you like to cross-examine this witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Grim, if you were planning on defending your home against Kenny Kane, why didn't you?
Because after he killed our daughter, we see how dark he was, and he would have killed us anyway.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Prosecution, do you have any more witnesses to call for?
Yes, Your Honor. We'd like to call Graham.
Graham, and call for it.
Susan Graham, do you swear to tell the whole truth and give evidence based on Freak Mighty?
I do.
You may be seated.
Good morning, Graham. How are you feeling?
Good, how are you?
What do you remember from that night?
When Graham and I woke up, we realized that Max had not came to wake us up. So Graham decided to go downstairs and look for Max. I stayed in the living room. While Graham was gone for a while, I decided to go check, and I got down there, and either Max or Graham were there. But I noticed that the window from Max's room to outside was open. I walked to the window and looked out, and I saw two sets of footprints trailing each other, and then Graham turned around and looked at me, and we both went back inside and called the police, filed a missing persons report, and gave them a description of Max and his father. After calling the police, we went to tell Glenn and Freak the news. Freak had mentioned the New Testaments, and then we called the police again and told them what Freak said. The police soon after met us at the Testaments. The police found a set of footprints that led us to the burnt down house. Freak then snuck through the window that was slightly opened and had brought a squirt gun that had soap, vinegar, and curry powder in it. After about 5 minutes, Max came running out with Freak on his shoulders, and the police went to get Kenny Kane and cuffed him up and took him away. The rest of us also had to go down to the police station, of course. They took a lot of pictures, and they insisted that Max did x-rays. Once the x-rays were done and over with, we went back to the police station. Grim was in some room with Max, and I'm going to guess that Grim was talking to him about everything that had happened. But for the next few weeks, I made Max sleep upstairs on the fold-out in the living room. Max tried to argue with me, but I said I don't care. If he is under lock and key, you are sleeping up here. And throughout the night, I would go back and check on Max to make sure he was still there and okay.
Graham, what did you see when Max, Kevin, and Kenny came out of the basement in the tenements? Did you see any marks or cuts on the boys?
I saw bruises and marks around Max's neck.
Thank you, that is all. Thank you, Your Honor.
Defense, would you like to cross-examine this witness?
No, Your Honor.
Prosecution, do you have any more witnesses to call for?
Yes, Your Honor. We'd like to call Gwen.
When you make it forward.
Gwen, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth and give testimony from Freak Mighty?
Yes, I do.
Good morning, Liz. Good morning. So, would you give me the account of the night that Max went missing?
Yes. Soon after I had woken up, Grim and Graham had came over and informed me that Maxwell was not in his room in the morning when they had gotten up. Then Grim and Graham asked Kevin where he thinks he could have gone. And he said that they most likely were at the Testaments. As soon as the police arrived there, Kevin, Graham and I all rode in the police car. After we got to the Testaments, Graham and I all got out of the car. I told Kevin to stay in the car, but he somehow, some way got out of the car and went into that house. I turned around and looked in the car and he wasn't there. So I, of course, started to freak out. I was worried where he went and the thought of him even going into that house being near that criminal gave me chills. I was scared to think that the things he could have been doing. Then as soon as I see Max come out and Graham pushing through the crowd, I followed to see Kevin. When I do see Kevin, I go over and hug him and keep saying I told him to stay in that car. Then after I hugged him for a while, I pick him up, carry him to one of the cars. On the way to the car, he keeps saying, freak the mighty strikes again. And from then we went home and I told Freak there was absolutely no more crazy adventures or dangerous quests. Then after I calmed down, I explained that he has to be careful.
Thank you, Bud. So, when Andy and Kenny got married, what did you think of him and why?
Objection.
Overruled.
He was very controlling and I did not like him, and he would often keep Annie away from anybody but himself. He had given off a bad energy anytime I was around him, and I just knew that Kenny Kane was a bad man from the start.
So, Gwen, what did you think when Kevin wasn't in the police car anymore, and why?
I immediately had all kinds of thoughts going through my head. I couldn't handle the thought of Kevin being anywhere near that criminal of a man. I knew that Kenny Kane was not a good man.
Who did you think kidnapped Max when you were told he was missing?
I immediately thought of Kenny. I knew Kenny as soon as he was on parole, he would try to see Max, so my suspicion immediately went to him.
Glenn, that's all, Your Honor.
Defense, would you like to cross-examine this witness?
No, Your Honor.
We will take a break and court will be back in session on Friday, March 22nd. Jury may not discuss the evidence or any other thoughts of this case with any other member of the jury, the public, or court officials. Court is adjourned.
Good.